Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Mixed Bag Podcast with your co-host, the Golden Hipster, T Money, Giovanni Galindo, and starring special guest,
CHI SongWriter.
There you go.
Oh, that's the man.
CHI SongWriter. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Not too bad, man. Glad to have you.
Appreciate you guys for letting me come out and be on this platform.
Yeah, you reached out to Timo, right?
Yeah. I seen you guys were doing it, and I was like, well, since we're all working together, why not find other ventures to work together, huh?
Well, I actually talked to Gio when we first started the podcast. I was like, we should have Casper on as a guest sometime. And once when he reached out to me, I was like, even better. Just makes it easier, yeah.
Right, yeah. I saw that you guys were doing different things. I was like, well, it'd be just fun. Let's see what we can do.
Yeah.
We have a lot of things we can talk about from the acting,
our
own,
And just to give our audience a bit of clarity, what's your profession, a little bit of your background?
Oh man, so I kind of finally figured out like a title for it. It's more like a creative entrepreneur, because I'm a recording artist, a songwriter, poet, actor, brand and business consultant, and marketing consultant, and just an entrepreneur as well with like my clothing brands. So I was like, overall, everything I get to all facets of it, I get to just be creative. And it's also like I work for myself, so it's like creative entrepreneur. So
right. So do you know what industry you would put yourself in? Like, are you in the music industry?
I would probably say the entertainment industry.
Entertainment?
Just entertainment. Yeah. Overall, is everything's art and entertainment.
True, because you have like multiple facets to be in.
Yeah.
Which is like really dope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see that you're always doing so many different things. Every time you post to Facebook, it's right on my feed. I can see it. And I do have some questions that I wrote down. The first one, just how are things going?
Amazing.
Always gotta ask that.
Thanks,
That's
I want to write that one down.
I just had, I had the hard-hitting questions right here on the mixed bag.
Man, I'm good, man. I feel very blessed, very humbled to be able to do everything I'm doing. So, and opportunities it's like opportunity after opportunity, they just keep coming. So it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really good. And I do have to ask about your music. Just anything new coming out?
I have a song dropping May 4th with my guy High End Guap. It's called Off the Rack. It's just like one of those like get money type of songs, like that type of get money, like those type of vibes.
Club banger.
Yeah, I don't know necessarily club, but like kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I make a lot of different styles of music. So I mean, you've heard. So like it just depends on how I feel in the moment, how the beat sounds, and I always try to just be genuine to it, so I have a lot of like different life experiences, so it gives me a chance to be able to go into like have an educated song while also having like a fun ratchet song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
gotta mix it up.
Yeah, because we're not all one emotion all the time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I first met you, I knew you did music, but I never heard anything. So the first song I listened to, I went to your YouTube, and it was the social media one.
Oh,
that was the first song I heard of yours.
Yeah. So you was like, oh, this conscious rapper. Hey, wait till you start digging. You gotta start digging.
Well, yeah, I started listening to some other ones, and I found Bryant in one of the music videos of a different one, and you filmed that one, right?
Oh, yeah.
That was fun.
Oh yeah, with Freedom.
Yeah, and I was just like, okay, he's got some stuff, and then after we became friends on Facebook, you constantly saying all these things that you're doing. I'm like, he's actually like really active in everything he does, and then I saw that you have merch, and I have this written down. Like, how's your merch selling?
It sells pretty well. So with me having my CHI SongWriter brand in general, that's like its own entity for clothing, and then I have my Love Myself clothing, and then I have my I Heart Too brand, and so the Love Myself one sells the best.
Yeah, I see you post people wearing that a lot.
And it's mainly, I mean, just on the marketing end of it, it's because it has this, it's more open.
Okay.
You know, it's just more open for more demographics.
Anyone
Anybody can wear it.
that,
Anybody can have self-love. You know what I mean?
But it's a good message too, yeah.
Right, but when you go to the CHI SongWriter brand, you're probably not going to buy my shirt unless you like really think the logo's cool, or you actually 100% support me.
Diehard fans.
Diehard fans, which is like really cool to see. And then you have the
Brian, I think.
my man.
Yeah, him being in your music video was the best moment of his life.
Oh man,
I was playing whole party drunk the whole night.
That's how I like it. And the I Heart Too, which is speaking of party, so like the I Heart Too clothing one, I have right now. I just have the iHeart to Party, and that's just kind of comes from like my Party Girl EP and things like that. But everyone's not a partier, so like that kind of like puts it into like one demographic or whatnot.
So you have new merch coming soon, like new like styles.
Yeah, we're gonna start. I'm in the process of expanding the iHeart2 brand with a couple other designs, and then we'll also. We kind of drop things for the last few months, just kind of testing it out. Like we dropped something in for St. Patty's Day. Yeah. We had like something like St. Patty's Day theme.
Smart.
So I'm trying to like working on things like that. So when June comes around, we're planning on having like a Juneteenth. We'll have a Juneteenth inspired.
Like event
design. No, it'll be a design, and then it'll be the same thing. We're gonna do one for gay pride, for pride and everything, and so just kind of representing what the months are about, and just kind of giving, putting out that energy in the world, because everything that when it comes like to love myself, clothing is more of an introspective idea.
I see you wearing one.
Yeah,
now.
I got that. Yeah. And so, but for the iHeart2 is more of an introspective thing. Like, hey, like I'm telling you, like I like to party, so like maybe we'll connect, or I like to dance, let's connect, or whatever the word is and however the vibe. But that's more of an introspective, and love myself is more for an introspective love.
Okay.
And like, how did that start? When was the moment you knew you wanted to separate yourself and start your own brand? Like, when did you just think of it?
So my freshman year in college, I was a business major. Like I don't know, like ever since I was a kid, I always had like an entrepreneurial mindset. I remember my older brother used to always, him and his friends would always ask me to go to McDonald's for them, and I used to stay like, we stayed like literally right next door, so I would always like do a little upcharge. So I was literally like Uber Eats. I was Uber Eats before Uber Eats. You know what I'm saying? Like those type of ideas, or I would like sell my I would resell my toys at garage sales, like at my neighbor's garage sale, or my mom would have a garage sale, little stuff like that. So I kind of always had that entrepreneurial mindset. But as far as like knowing that I wanted to separate my brands, with the clothing, it kind of everything really all came from quarantine, is where I really like expanded the business and started building these different brands and trying to push them.
You had more free time.
I had way more free time. When I didn't have to focus on anything else, right? And I couldn't do shows. There's a lot less I could do. And then once I did that, I was like, wow, like I'm making a lot more money than I was before trying to do it the way I was doing, which I was aware of these processes. I just never had the time to sit down and get it together. And so now I don't have to work for anyone. I work for myself. And I guess to answer that question was just different routes. Like I always had that entrepreneurial mindset, but this past year was the one that really launched all the brands. So it was in the making. Like Love Myself Clothing came from my Love Myself EP, and we went on tour, and that was all self-booked, self-promoted. Like we did everything that was like do it yourself, you know. DIY.
So you had the idea in the beginning. It just took time.
We sold merch. We were selling the merch at the shows, and I mean, they would sell out. Like we would just sell out. We would go to like little towns, and like all our stuff would be gone.
Give a little background, like the shows. Like what were you doing?
Performing. So just doing like my rap songs. So like the Love Myself EP was the project that we were on. I had a band with me, some of my homies, and it was really cool. It was just different. Like the project, you'll go listen to the project, and it's more like has like a trap conscious is what I like to call it, or it has like kind of like trap beats, but I have like a very conscious way of what I'm speaking about. But then my band were like heavy metal dudes, so it was like it was a vibe.
What a
like,
mix!
It was a vibe when we performed. It was just different.
I saw some of your live performances on your Facebook too, and you get so hyped, and so does the people in the crowd. Like I was actually just watching one right before you came here, and I was just seeing like people like getting really into your music and like bobbing their heads, and it's really cool to see that. And one of my questions was, what is it like to perform live on stage?
Oh man, that's just it's nothing like it. I think that's actually the best part of being an artist. Like being a recording artist, is the performance is the best part. And
I hear that.
It's like you're giving off your energy and people are feeding off of it. And then also it's like there's like two routes, because you know, if you go to your favorite artist's show, you know the words. So it's like they don't have to do much. But it's the opposite when it's like I'm going in somewhere that no one may not know me, and I can come and just be raw, and they're just like, dude, I don't know you, never heard your music, but now I'm in love with you, and that's like a way different vibe to me like just gaining new fans from performing instead of them hearing the music first.
That's
I
cool.
like that.
Yeah, because like when they're there, that's where they like, if they haven't heard of you, that's where they get their opinion of you. They decide it there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever get nervous like before performing?
I've been performing for over 10 years. So I think even the first time I ever performed, I was nervous, like in my mind, and then when more like anxious. But once I got up there, it was just, this feels like this is what I'm supposed to be.
You feel the crowd and you just feel the vibe.
Yeah, I was like in high school, and it
yeah.
just felt like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
So it felt natural.
It felt natural.
Nice.
So I mean, I've had times where I've gotten a little nervous if I was doing something new that I wasn't like comfortable with all the way, as far as new songs or something.
You ever have like a baddie come in, you're like, dang, I gotta impress this girl. I can't like trip or anything.
No, I think I think the overall, for me performing, I don't really get into like worrying about the outsiders, so that way I don't kind of get myself into this rabbit hole, like, oh, don't mess up, don't do this. Like, I've never really like, I think I've like tripped like once or twice, just because like sometimes you, like when you're a rapper, like, and you're going into certain venues, everyone doesn't have wireless mics. Their setups are weird. You got to really figure out the stage, and sometimes they don't give you a chance to come and do a sound check and prepare. So you're just in there raw. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you have to like. But I mean, I'm a pretty smooth dude, I feel like, in that sense. I don't really like. I don't really worry too much.
Yeah, I guess at the end of the day, it's all about having fun.
Yeah.
And like giving a good show.
Yeah.
And back to the brand thing, I did have a question. My question is just, what is your brand? What do you want people to think when they think of your name?
When I want them to think about just like self-love and just also just positivity and being able to, overcome adversity within your life, because that's kind of what self-love ends up being, is that you have to figure out those things that you don't like about yourself and accept them.
Okay.
Like things like that. And then also positivity doesn't mean like nothing goes wrong. It means to be like, okay, this is the situation, I can get through it.
All right.
So that's kind of what I put, like, that's the energy I put out through everything I create. And even with acting, like I think about that too. Like sometimes like the character might not be that person. You might be like nowhere near that, but the story is that. And so that's kind of like, I battle myself with that, because I don't want to be like typecasted, basically put into like, this is what you are, and I'm like that in every film. But also if the story's right, I'm not gonna play like a crackhead or something weird like that. Some things I just won't do. But some people will. They don't care. Like, but I mean, also some people have done some iconic things in that way that me personally wouldn't feel comfortable.
So like your core, you have your core, but it's not always your surface. So like at the end of the day, this is what you're about, but you don't always want to be tied down to just one thing too. Yeah. And then of course there's certain things that you won't do, because everyone has their morals and everyone has their limits, which is completely respectable and understandable. I do have a question about your time on Chicago PD.
Oh yeah,
because I saw that you were on there, and that's pretty exciting. That's a big show.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of background work with them and just kind of connecting, and they'll reach out. I'm kind of like, I don't want to say I'm a go-to, like that's not like what I'm trying to say. It's more like they just reach out.
Not yet.
No, yeah, like
you don't want to say it, but
no, I get blessed to get called a lot. Like I actually like, but once you get on there, you start seeing, because like during COVID, it just really blew my mind. It made me like, kind of gave you that like little ego stroke.
Yeah.
Like they only had 5 or 10 people. Usually they would have 20, 30, 40. So it was like, dang, you guys, out of all the people, and then the director chose you guys. And
that's gotta be a really nice feeling to have.
It's a good feeling, because I mean, especially in acting, this is probably like, because I wasn't as like, I have a passion for acting, but it's like music is my real like full passion.
Okay.
I think with acting, if someone says no, it doesn't bother me as much.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that, like if you had to pick one thing, acting or music. So you would music.
Probably wouldn't. I mean, if I had to pick, well, I don't know what universe that's in, but whatever dimension that's in, then I'd probably choose music, just because it's just what I do, but what I've always been doing,
Okay.
You do different avenues. You're real versatile.
Yeah, but acting, I got into acting because of music, because I wanted to get my music into film.
Yeah.
That was the whole asset.
To kind of backtrack a bit. So like you're very creative. Were you always like this when you were young? Like, what sparked you? Like,
I would say so. I mean, I don't know. I just think I was always just like, words were always my thing. I got good grades in English, and I just
were you like poetic? Like, were you doing like
I don't think
spelling bees?
Well, funny you say
I didn't
that.
do spelling bees. I didn't do
poem slam.
One of my questions is, I just saw on Facebook you just released your first audio poetry book, and I wanted to ask about that.
Okay, so hold on. It's not out yet, but I'm in the process of it. I just have like one poem I'm waiting to get back, but it's from a book that I released about 3 years ago, and called Ingredients of Connected Souls. And so I finally got this like set up, and I was like, basically I connected with a bunch of producers that I know, had them kind of put some sound design behind each poem, and each one of them kind of has its own vibe. And so once that last one's together, we'll start getting release dates and putting it out. And it's gonna be really cool. It's a different aspect. The hardest thing about trying to do so many different things is understanding the audience, because everyone who may like my music may not like my acting, or everyone who likes my acting may not like the poetry, or everyone who likes the poetry may not like the clothing. So they all have their own thing. So I'm really, really working on trying to separate them into their own entities where they work on their own.
Makes sense.
Like obviously the creative side, like the poetry, the acting, and the music, you see my face. There's no, but I don't. You don't have to see me with the clothing. You don't have to see. But right now, that's my biggest platform.
Yeah.
This is like my main pages are my biggest platforms. So I'm just in the process of trying to separate all that.
Okay. I see you're like trying to do all these different things. Like you don't want to like stick with one thing. You want to kind of like reach out and do everything you want to do. Do you ever struggle to try to balance like acting and music, and then putting out a book, and then doing this, like, and then making time to come do a podcast in Peoria? Like do you ever struggle to like balance everything?
I would say not necessarily. I mean, I'm not like, I think it's because I'm getting consistently booked in the right way for each thing.
Okay.
Where it's able, where I can say, okay, this Monday I'm doing this with poetry, Tuesday I'm doing this with music, Wednesday, Thursday I'm on set, Friday, Saturday I'm doing shows, whatever. So I've been getting kind of like put in a good position to do that. It does get a little difficult, because sometimes might not be able to create as much because I'm on set for 2 days. So I'm like, we're in there focused on that. I also have to practice. I have to practice for everything too. So you don't even put in that account for that. So
does it ever get overwhelming having such a like filled up schedule all the time?
No, I think that college really helped me.
That's true.
Open that, because it's like when you get in school, you have 4 or 5 classes, and then you have exams coming up, and then finals comes around, everything's heavy, like blah, blah, blah. But you really learn about time management, and I think that that's the key for me, is I really am good at time management. I make sure I have everything scheduled, and I have a manager over my music. Shout out to Swerve Samuels. But I have a manager on my music, but we really do a lot more of a partnership, because I mean I'm really hands on, and it's bittersweet. You know what I mean? Because it's like I like to always be like involved in what's going on or whatever. Like, even on set, like, how it'd be like, I think we were talking, and it was just like, you just kind of want to give each other's pointers, and you just want to help each other out, or it's like, here's a thought, blah, blah, or like, just, I don't know. It's just my personality.
Yeah. I remember you were asking us, I don't know, you were asking me and a couple other people on the set of Slum, just how should I say the last line? Like, that's the fire. Like, how should I say it? And you're trying it in different ways. And then it turned into like us joking around and having fun. You're like, that's the fire. Like,
it's one of those things, because acting, like I said, acting is so different from music to me, because music is, I don't know, maybe it's because like with acting, it's more I'm doing someone else's words. Yeah. So it doesn't feel so like, oh, if you don't like the words, that means like I take it a little bit more personal, I guess. Okay. I don't anymore. Makes sense. I don't anymore. But it is hard to like have someone critique your music like versus the acting.
When you're acting, you're playing someone else. When you're music, you're being your raw self. Right. So like if someone doesn't like your music, it's almost like they don't like you.
Like you, that's how
when they don't like your acting, or they don't like the movie you were in, it's like, well, they don't like the movie I'm in. That doesn't mean they don't like me as a person.
Unless they just hate my face.
Yeah, that's true. Your acting was great. The movie was great, but your face,
I just don't like your face, man.
So piggyback off of like those topics, music and acting. So you were in GG production films. Like, what's that? You're like one of your first major roles in acting. Like,
I mean, what was the first one? Actually, I think it was. But it was. Well, I think I was filming that at the same time as I was filming Art Collectors.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were kind of like. No, it wasn't at the same time because it was me and Miles. So it was. I think they went back. They went. It was. We did Art Collectors first, and then we did.
Recompense.
A Recompense.
Yeah, it's been a while, right?
Yeah. So and that was like. But I did like a smaller role from with a online like TV series, a web series, if you will, G Hunt Beach, and I wasn't like a major role, but I was getting I had a lot of lines in certain episodes.
Did you learn anything from like any of the GG film productions? Like, how was the experience for you?
I think you run a tight ship, my man. I think it's smooth. Like I feel like everyone feels involved, and I think that was another time. One of the first times, and not saying that other films weren't like that, but I think it was where I became more conscious about it, is that the collaborative vibe was there. It was just so cool to like, and it was nice working with Miles, because Miles is just such a good person, like how he moves, and then you're just very open to like, what do you want to do? Like, what do you feel? And like, it's nice to have that, because I mean, you have a direction that you want to go, but I think that I feel some directors get in their way because they know what they want because they wrote it or whatever the case may be, or they have a vision, but you gotta also take in everyone else's vision. You know, when you're creating, it's like, hey, I want to have, well, let's say, because that's right in front of me, I want to create a water bottle that's sleek or something, right? And I just use that word, but I can't think of nothing else. I tell you that, you go design it. Oh no, that's not what I wanted.
Right.
Well, I did what you asked for. This is sleek, exactly what you want, but it's not what I envisioned. Well, you know, like, so it's hard. So but I like that about acting. I think that I've been able to experience a lot more collaborative efforts, which has in turn put me more into a collaborative effort on music. You know, it's made me open myself up more to taking criticism and not taking it personal. You know, so that really, I think it has helped me a lot in the last couple of years.
I think Recompense was the first film I've seen of yours, Gio.
Nice.
And so that was the first time I ever like saw or heard of you either, because Bryant showed it to me before I even met Gio. Because he used to look, that's my car in the background.
My car.
I wasn't in the film.
But my car was.
Hey.
Speaking of collabs, I did write that down. What was your favorite collab to do, and who was it with? If you are okay saying.
In general?
On what avenue?
It could be anything overall. Like, who is your favorite person you've ever worked with?
You've done a lot. That's tough.
Or you could do just music.
I mean, I think that I would probably say, man, it's hard. That is very hard because there's so many different. I have these different consistent people that I work with for certain things. But if I think I would probably say,
besides me, by the way,
I would definitely say my manager for sure. Just like Swerve's been there for me since we became like the first day. Like we met and was just cool. Like he was just there as a friend. And then we were in our dorm room. We like ended up being roommates, and he just started doing stuff. Just like,
oh, nice.
Oh man, let me look up this thing for music. And I was like, dude, you just want to be my manager, you know? Like, so it's just like he's like, all right. And he was going to school for music business, so it all ended up working out. It just clicked, right?
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So
where it's not like all business, but like there's like care for each other and a friendship underneath that.
It's a different because it's a very like. I think that it is scary because they do always say don't work with friends. They do say don't hire friends.
Don't mix business and friendship.
Yeah, but you gotta have like if you're not genuine, you have to be genuine. Yeah. If you're with genuine people, then that idea is out the window. If someone you just have to watch people. Like when money starts getting involved or anything gets involved, you gotta see how they act and move accordingly because. You're not gonna like the biggest thing is you have to control your ego, and I think that we get into these ideas where you're like, well, he didn't like my idea, so forget him. You know what I mean? Like,
my shirts are selling well. What does he know?
Yeah, he doesn't know what I know, or you know, like, but you gotta sometimes check your ego too, because like sometimes someone has a better idea than you.
Have you ever had a hardcore moment that just really humbled you? Like, what was your most humbling moment in your career?
That's a really good question. I think honestly the most humbling moment was probably opening for Wiz Khalifa. I think that was.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, we did that at Bradley at the Renaissance.
That's really cool.
And I think that moment, which I mean, we had done some really cool stuff. I think it would be it would probably be a tie because it was kind of similar aspect with MGK too. We did him opened for him at the Canopy Club.
But which one do you like better?
As an artist?
You don't have to answer that if you don't want.
Where's that at? Canopy Club.
The Canopy Club is in Champaign, Urbana.
Okay, yeah, I heard of that.
So
where you went?
No, but I remember.
But both of those moments was like we got to be in front of a huge crowd, and the crowd really like vibed with us, and it was just like we can do this.
Yeah,
like,
that sounds
very
very
humble. It's like understanding that we were be able to we're being put in this position. But now that I like even go like now I'm really thinking even harder. I think honestly the most humbling thing has been COVID. I think I think that's really where I got a time to sit down and pause. Okay. The true most humbling moment. Now I gotta think about it. So I was working for a company called Innovative, and we were doing distribution, promotion, and I was doing sales for musicians, right? So we help artists get on Apple Music, Spotify, things like that. This was about 3 or 4 years ago. And I was also working at a venue, and I was booking shows. I think I booked about 50 shows that year. So we were doing that. I was booking shows. I was touring, and I was just doing my own music stuff. And I had a day job, but I didn't even really necessarily need the day job because music was paying the bills.
Okay.
And I think I started getting a little cocky, like, oh yeah, I'm the man, like feeling myself, and everything started kind of crumbling, and I was back to working a day job and didn't have the same thing, and that was a humbling experience because it made me remember like just because you get it don't mean you can keep it.
Yeah, that's true.
So it happens, so you gotta stay humble, and so this time around where I'm back at that same position, 100% now, like 100% don't have to like work for anyone else.
Yeah.
So like I'm just trying to make sure I keep my ego at bay.
That's good because it's good that you went through that because now you like won't let it affect you the second time around, and especially that you have the opportunity to kind of go back on the rising side.
You've grown from it.
Grown, yeah.
And is there any collabs? If you could collab with one person, who would it be?
There's a lot.
Let's say for music. One artist.
I probably honestly would love to just be in the room and work with Kanye, just because I feel like he's nuts and he's just so good at, like, I don't think that people give him enough credit for how good he is at putting people in a room. Like his songs, like a lot of his songs, it's not just one person. It's so like to be able to get that many minds in there and to be able to create something really cool, it's hard because the more minds you put on it, the more things can get cluttered. You know what I mean? So like too many chiefs. And someone's been saying that to me a lot lately. I keep hearing that term. It's like too many chiefs, right? And so, understanding when to be a chief, because you can be a chief, but sometimes you need to be an Indian too. And so it's like trying to find that route. That's a situation with you being a director, and you have these actors come in, right? And they're like, "Well, I'm the best actor on here," and I've been to Juilliard, and whatever they want to act like, but like
that kind of comes
it's
back
not
to the
just
ego
about
thing.
you. Like it's about the whole project. So it's nice to get people in there. I mean, and just coming from like even being in the background world, just like watching background actors, there's a lot of them are very egotistical and they think it's about them. And I was like, how do you think it's about you?
I've been in the background of this movie and this movie.
And that's okay. It's like, but it's like, man, why do you think it's about you when you were on a film with like, it's not, these are big names on here, whoever it might be, it's like they get paid millions, they make millions of dollars a year to be an actor, and they're not even acting like that. So why are you acting like like you don't even get a dressing room.
It's always crazy. It's always crazy to see to someone that has a big star ego when they're not a big star.
I think you should have a confidence about yourself in general,
but there's a difference between confidence and cocky. Exactly. You should put that on a shirt. Be confident, not cocky.
Hey, I know that, and I think what I've learned about myself is that I first got like any type of like success from music or from whatever from creating when I was like 15, 16 years old, and we had a song do like 100,000 plays. And then we sold out a show, and we were just like, wow, like we were able to bring people, but it was in Peoria, it's like we just did something really cool in our town, I think that was like, and I was playing basketball, and I was like the star player in my high school, you know, and that was like my vibe, my mindset, right? So I think that sometimes getting success too early, or whatever,
or just like really fast at once,
and not like, sometimes that can deter you, because you talk about sports, you watch a lot of kids be a star football player, and he's like, oh, he's becomes a real, like,
you see it all the
person,
time,
basically.
especially with young celebrities. Like, you see it happen. Like, it just like it can really destroy their lives, because especially at such a young age too, it's just like they're not capable of handling that type of success. But for like when it comes to older people, maybe not being able to handle the success, but not being able to handle it all at once. When you go from working a 9 to 5, living your life normally, and then all of a sudden you have all this success, like, I feel like depending on who you are, that can really like show like how you would react to that, and like it can either be crazy or it can be like surprisingly good. Like, it's crazy to see how people handle that type of success, and that quickly too.
Yeah.
So how do you think you handled it? Like, not that you're like at like Justin Bieber levels or anything,
right.
but like how did it feel to like all of a sudden start like having people recognize you, like getting 100,000 plays on a song, selling out shows, like, and getting show roles like Chicago PD, or like just doing all these different things? Like,
I honestly don't. I just enjoy doing what I do, so like, and I want to do it, and so like I have this like mindset of like, I'm so used to seeing talkers, and I'm just know I'm a doer.
Yeah.
And so,
you kind of enjoy the moment.
I enjoy the moment.
You remember it, but you don't really like.
I don't get to, like, I live in the moment. I still keep moving at the same time. It's like, that was really dope, and I can, you know, I'll post like, yeah, I got a new role, and I do that. I think I had a conversation with somebody before about this, about posting successes, and sometimes, like, you know, people they'll get, I don't want to say jealous or envious, but they just like get upset when you're posting successes. Like, oh, you think you're cool, and they'll say things like that. But that's like from your perception, because the way I see it is, I like to post things because it's inspiring. Yeah. Like, if someone from that you knew, or someone you don't know, or whatever the case may be, but someone that may feel relatable to you, and you see them doing things, it makes you be like, oh, you don't got to be a rapper, or you don't got to be an actor. Like, you may just like, now I'm the manager at my job now because I seen that you were motivated. I can be motivated too. That's what my whole, like, that's part of my campaign. Like, I have tatted on my stomach, live to be inspired, die in inspiration, and that's literally how I live my life.
Okay.
So,
I pay attention to your Facebook because I see it on my feed a lot, and I do notice that you don't only just like promote yourself. You do like talk to the people that follow you. You try to connect with them. And one of the questions that I saw that you posted not too long ago was that I kind of want to ask you actually, is that what do you define as like you made it? Like, what do you think of as you made it? Like, what is making it to you?
I think honestly, making it to me is just being able to wake up and not be dreadful about the day.
Okay.
But when we're talking about as a profession or whatnot, it's just being able to be in a profession that you enjoy, make your money, and be able to eat from what you like to do.
When your job doesn't feel like a job.
Basically, that's the thing. And I just actually had this conversation on a podcast I did the other day, and I was talking about how a lot of people will come up and say like, man, you're gonna go somewhere, you're gonna be great, you're gonna be loved. But it's a cool thing to hear, right? But when you really break down the semantics of it, you sit there and you say, well, you're telling me that I haven't made it.
Yeah.
Right? So that was part of why I put that question out, because I was like, in my mind, I'm very happy and content with what I'm doing. But other people kind of, it's like, because what your idea of success isn't the same. All four of us may have different ideas of success.
It's all about perception.
It's perception. Yeah. Perception is reality. So like that reality for them is not the same reality for me.
Exactly.
And so you try to put your reality on me, and I'm not. Like, that's why I like kind of get weird when people say stuff like that, because it's like, well, dang, you don't respect what I'm already doing. But then again, maybe you do. But it feels like that to me, where you're not actually seeing, like, oh yeah, man, I saw you post some shirts. That's cool, man. Hopefully people will buy them.
Well, because to them, they're probably like, oh, you don't make until like, oh, you have millions of dollars, you're selling millions of songs, you're in high budget blockbuster movies, you're A-list celebrity, like
that's what making it is to people.
Yes, the American dream, no, that's for me. Making it is just like you wake up, you're happy. Like every day you're happy. You no longer have to worry about being sad. You no longer have to worry about what you're gonna do with your life. You like my like, of course I want to like have success in my career and whatever, but at the end of the day, all I really want is to have a happy family, to do good with my future kids, and to be able to support them and just be happy. Like that's what I think of as making it.
Right.
And then of course when it comes to career, it's a whole different thing. But I would say like you've made it, because like you're doing really well for yourself, and
you're still going.
sure.
You're still young. You're consistently going up and up and doing different stuff.
And I could totally see you reaching like much higher levels of success. Like I wouldn't be surprised if it was just like I got a speaking role in Chicago PD, and then it's like full up putting an album. And actually, I did want to ask that. Do you ever plan on releasing a full length album if you haven't already?
I think that when I was like, this just comes from my marketing side and just my music business mindset. Like, people don't listen to full albums as much unless like it's someone like that has like a lot of fans, and I think that it's easier for people to digest 5 or 6 songs at a time,
like an EP,
to see if I like this artist, what's next, you know. And I can give I'm really big on concept EPs. So if you go to my Apple Music or Spotify, each EP has its own vibe, and so I kind of give a certain part of me. You know, I have like I have the Love Myself EP, which is where it's just like really about the introspective idea of kind of figuring myself out. I got the Party Girl EP, which is just a lit part, like just all lit stuff. Like this is just that party. But I actually had the concept was really it's really just following this girl who is in this lifestyle party, and then there's different levels of it.
I like that.
And it's just kind of what I try to do is I try to like do a concept with each EP that I put out. But I do think that it's easier for people to take in that information at a smaller level. And with rap, it seems also that songs are shorter. Everything is just getting really short, and you have to
adapt. Right?
You have to adapt, and also still like you don't want to mess up your craft by doing that.
You have to adapt, but stay true to yourself at the same time, which is definitely I can imagine would be hard. And that makes me think, like, what is your songwriting process? Like, what goes through your head when you're writing a new song? Do you think, oh, I gotta release a new song, it's time to sit down and write? Or does it come to you like naturally, like, oh, I'm feeling something, I gotta write this down?
So I think there's a few ways. Like if I'm like, sometimes I'm just like, oh, now I just get a cool melody in my head, or I just get these cool lines in my head, so I just put in my notes or like make a voice memo. And then sometimes they never get used, or sometimes like they'll just like, I'll hear a beat and I remember I had something that was just like this, or I'll just go record those vocals and send it to a producer, and they can make something. But a lot of times it's where I'm just like writing to a beat, and then whatever that beat makes me feel, and I try to like tell my side of the story, or like a viewpoint of it. I try to keep it. I basically try to be really like real in my songs, in the sense of like either I've experienced it or I've been around it, and that's the energy I want to. And it's the energy I want to put out there, because I don't really like. You might catch like 1 or 2 like references to like guns or something like that, but I'm not necessarily that type of person, so it's not something I talk about. So you won't catch a song that's like that, but so like just like those type of, like, you might also, on vice versa, some people who is in that lifestyle, you wouldn't expect them to come and try to tell you how to like whatever. Some, you know, like basically staying in their lane in a sense. But I also grew up, as I said earlier, I would say I've grown up around a lot of different cultures, and so it has given me a chance to learn a lot about people, and
make you more relatable.
It makes you more relatable, because I can't help but bring in some of the things that are around me.
Okay.
So that's where that all comes. Like when the words come out and the thoughts come out, that just comes from my experience, basically.
That's nice. I do have one question. This might be a hard question to answer, but do you have a favorite song that you wrote? Like your all-time favorite song that you've written?
Yeah, probably.
Social media?
No, actually, it's not. Actually, I have this song called "No Makeup On." I wrote a long time ago. It's like it might be on SoundCloud still, maybe. It's like one of those old songs. But I really enjoy. It's called "No Makeup On." It's just pretty much just talking about a female's beauty with no makeup, right?
Okay.
Super simple, but it was just like really. I think it may have been one of the first times I wrote a chorus and had someone else sing it.
Okay.
I think was the first one. So don't quote me on that, but I believe that was the first time I did. And it was cool to see like my words become life through someone else's voice, and I did my verses and stuff. But it was a very positive song, good vibes, and but that was like I did that a while ago.
So I mean, I've written some songs, and some people tell me that some of my songs are better because they're like more like lyrically advanced. Like the lyricism is much more complicated, it's much more thought out. But for me, it's like the ones that I have more of a personal connection to. Like this song might not be as like lyrically thought out, or it's not crazy insane with all the flow and stuff as much. But for me, it's like, this song, the meaning behind it, the reason why I wrote it is why I love it. And it's just like every time I hear it, it makes me feel. And obviously, like not everyone can relate to that, but like, because some people think that especially in rap, like the lyrics got to be insane, the beats got to be insane, the production's got to be insane, which obviously I think all that stuff is important. But I think the most important thing behind all music, but especially rap, because rap I think is the best genre where you can express yourself, because you can just say so much more than in any other genre, is just like the meaning and the emotions behind it and what you could say. So yeah, I love hearing when artists speak about like the meaning behind their songs.
Can I get controversial?
Go for it. That's what this podcast is about.
So I personally feel when it comes to hip hop, it is that idea that it is about just speaking your mind and speaking your experiences. I do think there's a systematic thing about within rap that why, because like the first time they had a parental advisory is because of hip hop. Like where that, because they didn't want these older white people didn't want their kids listening to this black music, right? So. But when you think about what you said as far as like being the most expressive, I think that country's very expressive. I think rock, if you listen to the lyrics and the words, like it's very expressive and they say a lot of wild things. I think that, but because of the systematic thing, I think that that's where it has started becoming where it's like, oh man, hip hop is the place that you got to be careful listening to that, because they're gonna. But like I've listened to some heavy hard rock that talks about killing and doing all types of wild stuff.
What I mean by
it's not even on you. Yeah. No, I promise I wasn't against you.
No, but what I meant by why I think hip hop is the most expressive is just because you're able to say more. Like in a hip hop song, you could say like 1,000 words, and like you can go a lot faster. When in a song. And like in a pop song or a rock song, you have to sing it, you have to be a little slower, you can't say as much. Right. So you can still express yourself in just in a meaningful way, but like in hip hop you're just able to just say so much more.
Right. No,
so you have it's like it gives you an opportunity to like say twice as much than as in a rock song, which they may have just like had just as much emotion in their song, but you were able to say more.
No, I respect it. I wasn't saying, I wouldn't even say you were saying anything wrong at all. It was more just that idea of thinking of like always.
No, yeah, because that. people like blame so much on hip hop, like hip hop is just all about drugs and killing people and sex. When
that's what
rock, when it is literally it's been in rock music, it's been in pop music, rock, it's been in all genres. Like it was nothing new when hip hop came out, but.
That's why I was just putting some gems out there, you know what I'm saying?
And it's true, what you're saying is true.
I kind of want to backtrack a bit. And so with your career path, like networking, it seems like it comes by so easy to you, but what are some pointers you would probably give out there to like our audience, like for networking, what are some keys, I guess, to it? Do you have to be consistent? Like,
I think there's, let me see, I would say you already said
or does it come easy with your career just because you're...
I don't think I think there's three things. I would say there's three things, and you could kind of put them in any order. Sure. But let's say that number one in my mind is create value. Like, don't come into a situation and say, "Hey, you need me." Like it's more like I don't know that I need you, so show me that. So something I come in and say, "Hey, like I would love to help you out." not me. You're helping me. I'm helping you, and trying to figure out what do you need. So you say, well, I need an actor. Oh, okay, I can do that. Oh, I need an assistant. Okay, I'll come. That's PAs and that mindset of that, like. But I come from music, so like a lot of artists aren't that way. But you have to really, for the artist mindset is like, I got a hot song. You need to have it on your radio station. You need it on your playlist. You need to be listening to it. It's like, but you're not creating value. So like, but with networking too, you want to come into a situation and create value so you can create connections, right? Mm-hmm. Consistency, definitely keeping yourself on the move and trying to like being in that mindset and I mean, when I say being consistent too, you still want to be genuine, don't just like everything is business, but it's also like I want to create genuine connections through consistency too. And the last one is just being like personable, which is kind of hard to teach because some people just don't have communication skills. Which I think is very interesting. I thought about someone like a Kanye or like someone like a Kanye because he has really great messages. He's just not a great communicator in a sense because what he says, you like that sounds crazy, but he's not saying anything different than someone else has said, but they put it in a more fancy way. Like
the slavery was a choice thing.
Yeah, that was that was just horrible. Like, but if you break down what he was probably trying to say, it was more as like y'all could you could have probably got away. Obviously, you see that where we're at now, quote unquote. Yeah. You see where we're at now in more of a physically seeing way and not like a systematic way. But you'll understand it. Like people ran and then that ended up creating what we're at, right? I think that's what he was trying to say, but when it's kind of hard to know because I'm not him. So he wasn't trying to say that. Like
I didn't look too much into that, but I definitely heard that he wasn't like trying to say that out, like that they actually chose to be slaves. I did hear he was trying to like say more than what it came across. But yeah, that just goes to show like sometimes your intentions doesn't matter as much as your delivery or your execution. Like
right. So yeah, I think those three though would be for as far as networking would be key, and I think that because once you do something, the same thing is about creating value. Is like now that I've gotten to be in your film, you may go tell another director like, oh yeah, he's good to work with, or he sucks, he's not a good person to work with, whatever.
I'd be like, he alright.
Yeah, alright. But like at the end of the day, it's like same thing. If I see somebody, oh, you doing a GG film, bro? He cool, like he's good people. You're gonna enjoy it, and it creates more value, and then it kind of like people start talking about you in a positive way because no one wants to work with someone that you hear bad things about.
But so kind of you have to make and find opportunities for yourself where you're involved with other people, so you can like talk with them, connect with them, and then that's how your network just branches out, type of deal.
Yeah, it's not, and it's really just like it's not really a complicated concept. It's really more of it's just being natural and being you. Like, don't like I see it all the time. Like the first thing that a person to do when they see me is like, hey, I rap too. Like
okay, that's cool.
I'm not even saying like that's not cool. Like I don't even know what to say to you. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, dope. Like I don't know. Like I can't do anything for you necessarily. In the sense of you just telling me you rap too. Like I've never heard you, and I'm not trying to sit here and listen to you rap while I'm at a bar. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not. That's like I'm at a bar to drink, not hear bars. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
hey, that was good. That should be in a rap line right there.
So it's just like I'm not. I don't know. People don't understand timing too. Like it's business, and that's where the part that they forget is business. So it's the same way. If you were building up a bookstore, you have to be able to find a distributor, and you got to find these different facets of it. You got to find workers, and it's all going to come through with networking, interviews, blah blah blah. But you got to be, I don't know, people make it more complicated than it has to be.
Very true. So Casper, we're running down the show down a bit, but one thing I ask every guest is if somebody going through a hurdle in life, what's one piece of advice you would give them? It could be simple, it can be complex.
If they're going through a hurdle in life.
Yeah, they're at like a mental roadblock or something that they're just.
I think that they have to. This is a pretty. It's not a hard question. I'm trying to make sure I frame it right and say it right.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll just go for myself. When I think about hurdles and situations, I like adversity personally. Everyone's not like me though. I think it's kind of fun to be able to see like there's something in the way and I can accomplish it and get over it. I do think that you just have to kind of like figure out yourself, like really work on self. And I think that's what's going to help you with being able to get over hurdles, because the hardest hurdle in life is really knowing you, you know? So I think that that's like the first thing, is really focusing on trying to like understand yourself, be okay with your flaws, be okay with that hurdle being there, and be okay with not being able to jump over it, because maybe that's not the hurdle you need to jump over right now. There's, you know, sometimes it's in the way for a reason and you can go around it. Oh yeah, I don't have to jump over it. I can just walk around it. I forgot. You know what I mean? Like, so I think that you kind of have to like get this point in yourself that you really love yourself and have this idea.
Yeah, it's basically your logo.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you figure out the self-love thing, and you really figure out that like it's okay. Like that's just an easy line. Like it's okay for me not to be able to accomplish this goal. I'll figure out another way. And that's the main thing I said. I think that's how you could like see it, is really focusing on that.
Okay.
Well put.
I like that. I actually do have one more question before we end this. What is your biggest dream and overall goal with your career? What do you want to do where you think, okay, I'm finally where I always wanted to be?
Honestly, I would say that I am there in a sense. I think I'm doing exactly what I'm able to do. But I think that I think that when it's like looking at goals, it's kind of like sometimes you want to put like numbers on it. But like I don't want to put a number on this goal. I just feel like I'm currently able to do everything I want to do, and I don't have to ever focus. I don't have to ever worry about, can I pay this bill? Like, you know, maybe making, you know, 6 figures a year, if you want to put a number on, if you really want to, you know, it could be in the 6-figure range, is cool. You know, where you're, but only reason why I say 6 figures within like the music industry or being in the entertainment industry is because you spend so much on yourself trying to keep doing what you're doing, not counting your bills and all that. So a 6-figure lifestyle would be like, you'd probably really be spending like 40 a year on your business, you know, or more, you know. So
you're basically already satisfied with your career.
I'm pretty satisfied with being able to do everything I do. I get to work with a lot of cool people. I get to travel. I'm on the road all the time.
That's great.
I can do cool stuff like this.
So I'm happy for you, man.
I appreciate
I'm glad,
it.
and I'm glad I got the privilege to meet you and work with you.
Likewise.
Well, thank you guys for watching. Would you like to say your social medias, where you can get your merch?
Oh yeah, you can go to www.CHISongwriter.com, CHISongwriter.com, and then you can hit the tab. You can check out everything that I do, from music, poetry, clothing, etc. And if you want to check out the music, or you want to check me out on social media, just search CHI Songwriter on all platforms, and you'll be able to find me. Okay, and I'll also put the links in the description for YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify, just search what he said. Thank you for coming on. You were a great guest. Thank you. I appreciate y'all. See you guys later.
Bye.